I am Cassie Owens Moore. I'm a librarian and a book lover and intellectual freedom fighter. And I want to talk to you just for a minute about some books that can highlight Black culture. Because, we're heading into February, and I hope you're not one of those educators who believes that the only time to talk about Black culture is during February. Um, like I told my students just the other day that this is a time of highlighting, but that it's always appropriate and it's always important to study Black culture, just like it's always important to study Hispanic culture, Native American culture, Asian island, Pacific culture, because all of those weave into American culture, American history. And so, again, this is a highlighting. This is not, an exclusion or, just because it's February. Please don't be that person. And if you are that kind of educator, start to change your mindset a bit about that. But I wanted to share some books with you that have been really important in my journey as I learn and the way that I can incorporate things with my students. And so some of these are new, some of these are not so new, but they're all picture books right now. So let me just kind of preface this by saying this is going to be like my part one. My part two will be on those books that you can use with, upper elementary, middle school, high school, adults. But to say this about these picture books are not just for kids, they are everybody books. They are visual narratives that help tell a story. And so, don't be ashamed to have picture books in your secondary classes because those kids need to get that message too. Now, this is An American Story by Kwame Alexander. And to me, this book is so good for someone who says, I don't know how to teach this. I don't know how to talk to my students about the history or the history of African Americans in this country. This is brilliant. And I'm not going to, I've got a couple of books, so I'm not going to read this to you, but um, I will say it starts like this, and the artwork is insane. But it says, "How do you tell a story that starts in Africa and ends in horror? An unbelievable story about evil plans and big guns hiding in the night, waiting." That's where we start. How do we tell this story? And this is the story of a teacher trying to tell this story to a class. An American Story, Kwame Alexander, absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. This book is a new book for me. This is Unspoken, and this is by Henry Cole. And let me tell you why I love this book so much. This is a wordless picture book. Like I said, visual narrative. So everything that the reader gets from this is coming from their inferencing, that visual literacy that our kids so desperately need. And so another just absolutely beautiful book. And I love this because if you've ever watched any of my videos before, let me see if I got it. Yes. I've read Showay before. I've talked about Showay by Jacqueline Woodson. If you've not used the picture book Showay by Jacqueline Woodson, you definitely need to, because in this first part, there's a Showay quilt. And the Showay quilts were very important because it's the way the enslaved people communicated. And it's also a way for the people who were helping through the Underground Railroad. It was a way to mark them as safe. And so Unspoken is it's a story from the Underground Railroad. And these pictures do the talking. And let me show you just a few, or just one really, because I've got a couple of books here. I got way too excited when I was doing this, but this is one picture right here. And I don't know if you can see it clearly, but it's the corn and there's an eye, hiding, looking out from the corn. This will generate a lot of conversations. And on the back of it, it says, what would you do if you had the chance to help a person find freedom? Outstanding book. And that is Unspoken. Another book that I really like is Unspeakable: The Tulsa Race Massacre, something that has really been missing from conversations when you're talking about Black history. And again, a fantastic book that sheds light on on a time in a place that people don't want to talk about. And a little bit of it says, once upon a time near Tulsa, Oklahoma, prospectors struck it rich in the oil fields. The wealth created jobs, raised buildings, and attracted newcomers from far and wide seeking fortune and a fresh start. Once upon a time in Tulsa, there was a community called Greenwood. Its residents descended from Black Indians, from formerly enslaved people, and from exodusters who moved from west in the late 1800s, fleeing the violence and racism of the segregated South. So it's painting this picture of what Tulsa, what this community Greenwood was really about. And of course, it goes on into what is now known as the Tulsa Race Massacre. If you are not familiar with that, please educate yourself. This is a very powerful picture book. Another book is Outspoken, also by the same person who wrote Unspeakable. This is Outspoken Paul Robinson, ahead of his time, a one man show. And so this is another good book, just shedding some light right here. And this one's a little bit more, it's a little bit more detailed. I would almost say that this is more of a poetry book, but it's another good book to introduce students to this story. And let me see, I'm just going to read you a little bit from the cover. It says, raised by a minister father, young Paul witnessed injustice and racism, learning from a young age that if he was going to accomplish anything, he would have to be the very best he could be. As his star rose, so did his popularity, until he was selling out stadiums on world tours, finding community and heritage in the African countries where he traveled. Paul returned home with renewed passion, dedicated to the cause of speaking out against racial injustice in his home country. But as the political tides in America shifted, so did the attitude toward him. And when Paul Robinson spoke out as America's conscience, our nation was not yet willing to listen. Very good book. So I wanted to just introduce you to that one. And here we go. I'm going to end the same way I began with Kwame Alexander. This is his new book, How Sweet the Sound, a soundtrack for America. And there is a true soundtrack playlist for this book. What a beautiful way to introduce, music and art into your studies about Black culture, because and this can be any time. This doesn't, this is just such a beautiful book. I am a huge fan of Kwame Alexander, if you haven't noticed. But it says, listen to the fireside chorus of the motherland, to the talking drums dancing beneath the golden sun that beat a bold tapestry of yesterday's stories and tomorrow's dreams, to the magnetic chants that welcome each day and the praise songs that sing us farewell. Bum bum dum, bum dum, bum dum. So it starts this way and it journeys all the way through the music that has just shaped American culture. Such beautiful stories, and such a rich history. And so, again, I just invite you to pick one, pick two, pick them all, and introduce these stories to your students, to your community, to your family, because they are rich stories. And again, this is American history. You know, I don't know about you guys, but it's been really hard for me to find my joy, my excitement, and a lot of things, just watching the news and just being even on social media. I've had to limit so much of that. And I found myself getting very discouraged. But then I thought that that's almost like the effect of it all, like almost like the mission. If I get discouraged, then I stop hoping. If I stop hoping, then I stop learning. When I stop learning, I stop being an effective teacher. And so I had to get my hope back. I had to get my enthusiasm back. And I found a lot of hope and encouragement and enthusiasm in these books and in working with my students to dissect these books. And it has just been an incredible thing for me. It's been so powerful to see my students learning and growing and developing in so many of these skills and in so many things. And I don't know. I don't know. I just feel very hopeful. And so I hope that this leaves you with a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of initiative to incorporate some of these books into your library, into your classroom, into your home. One of the beautiful things about the South Carolina Education Association is that we sincerely believe in we believe not only in diversity because that's become such a target word, but we believe in accessibility. We believe in equity. We believe in justice. And these books are great examples of, I think, equity, accessibility, and justice. And if that's something that you feel in your heart, if that's something that resonates with you, consider joining the SCEA. We're doing good things. We're doing good work. We're fighting to keep books like these in the hands of our students and out in the community. And if that's something you want to be a part of, I encourage you to reach out and just join us. Okay. Hey, have a great day. Part 2 will come. I will try not to be so chatty, but gosh, I love these books. Books are my joy. They are my love language. And I'm so happy to share that with you. Hey, keep working, keep believing, keep hoping, and let's just keep doing what we need to do. God bless you.
Together we learn, together we grow, together we heal, together we flow. Be cool, every teacher, every school. Be cool, every teacher, every school. Be cool, every teacher, every school.